You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Shark Tank After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Shark Tank After Show.
Spread it, mix it, shake it, stir it. Spread it, mix it, shake it, stir it. Spread it, mix it, shake it, stir it.
Hey guys, being as we're here doing another Shark Tank after show. I'm Stef Z, and I'm joined by the awesome
Phil Svitek.
Whoop whoop.
I am slightly disappointed, though.
Why?
We could have gone to a taping.
I know.
I had to open up with that.
You did. First, I want to give a special shout out to Lori and her publicist Penny. I actually reached out to them this week asking them to be a part of our show. She showed enthusiasm, and I spoke to her publicist, and she was so kind and was like, I wish you would have reached out sooner. We would have had you guys come down to see the filming. You could have met the sharks. So a little late this time, but we're hoping that we can get Lori in for a call, maybe a visit. I know their schedules are super busy being the sharks and owning so many companies, but we love you guys, and we really appreciate that you take a minute and, you know, respond to us when we're here supporting your show. So with that, it was like very excitement. Then it was like, oh, a little too late. But
Yeah.
you know, guests in the future, that's always a good thing.
Always a good thing.
So, but you know, I feel like the Sharks listened in a way. They heard last week's demands for opening up with "We Are the Sharks,"
And they upgraded.
They did.
That was, I mean, that was smooth as butter.
It was smooth. It was a new. I feel like the logo is new too. Is that just me this season? It looks like there's a lot more hammerhead sharks.
I mean, I didn't count it seasons past, so I don't know.
It just looks like the buildings, like, to me, I don't know. Maybe it's
new.
just me. It is new?
Yeah.
All right. Good. Okay, so we start with the Sharks are back, and and again, we don't know exactly the rotation, but this week Damon is back. So just for you guys, you know, a quick recap. Kevin is, you know, a software guru. He's, you know, sold many software companies. Damon had a brand, Fubu, a clothing brand. He manufactures a lot of stuff. Robert is another tech mogul. Lori owns QVC, lots of patents, stuff like that. She makes products. And Mark is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and also a huge entrepreneur.
And a theater chain as well.
Yeah, he owns a
Check out our first
he owns
episode.
a TV station too, but you know, I just don't want to every week.
Yeah, check out episode 1 to really kind of get the full breakdown.
Yeah, because we did all the sharks on that one, and then you know we start off this episode with the mango preserves, which is awesome. I love seeing like family, and they weren't family, but they were sisters that, you know, said they were like best friends, family. I love seeing people getting together with the same passion and trying to make something out of it. So, I mean, what was your impression as they first walked through the door, Phil?
They came in with amazing energy. They had a good story, everything like that.
It's like you wanted to give them a big hug.
I did.
I wanted to hug them all.
I loved Robert just grabbing everything.
Yeah, he was like kept going back up.
Which we discussed is always a good sign if the sharks like what you have to sell.
Right.
But you know what? I'm going to have to go with Kevin on this one. It was a hobby at that point, not a full-on business.
It was a hobby, not a full-on business, but they did $138 worth of sales. I mean, $138,000 worth of sales.
Yeah.
In like a year and a half. That's kind of a business, you know, like if they're not full-time, I feel like that's a business.
It's a business. Well, I think it goes two ways. Right now, it's still a hobby, but it can be a business. So Kevin, for me, he was a little bit too harsh in that respect where, okay, like, here's what you're doing wrong, but I see the potential. And if you're willing to listen to me, we'll make it a business and we'll make tons of money.
Right. Well, because I feel like a lot of businesses are really a good idea and passion. Really, when you marry the two of those, and they had that. They had a good idea. They clearly have a product that people like that can be, it's a very versatile product. They were showing how you can have this mango sauce jelly and you can put it into different things as a base. So pretty much it's almost like they're making it a foundation ingredient to do many different things with, which I think is really brilliant.
I think so too, and they were asking for $75,000 for 20%.
Right, so that gives them a $375,000 evaluation.
Yes, I love that Kevin did actually own Jelly and James. Everyone was just shocked by this.
I know,
but you know, so when he says those facts, you got to kind of believe him because he knows what he's talking about.
You do have to believe him, and you know, he does know what he's talking about. He's saying that their cost, they need to lower the cost by about 75 cents. So pretty much they ask him what so they wholesale for $3.96. They retail for $6.99, and their cost is $2.18. So it's not even like, that's a bad margin. Yeah. And I agree with Kevin that they need to lower it 75 cents. Your cost should be 1/3 of what your wholesale is.
Yeah,
ideally.
He said it should be 125.
Yeah. So, you know, but they can't. And I feel like, you know, they have a good idea. They want a production facility. And, you know, Kevin does have a really good point that, you know, instead of getting the money for that and instead of doing it hands-on, if they just got someone else to produce their recipe, they would be freed up to do the sales, to bring in more money, you know what I mean? And they kind of seemed like they didn't want to go that route, that they wanted to keep it, you know, doing it themselves. Yeah,
which, you know, I think they're young, and they don't know the business, and I think they will learn.
I think they will learn.
I'm very hopeful of their futures.
I think they're going to learn, and honestly, I bet you they did probably $200,000 worth of sales since Friday.
Yeah.
I bet you they've done a lot.
I think it's a shame. It's always a shame when sharks have to go out because they don't know the business. Like, I feel Mark was so interested, but he was like, I have no idea of this space.
Yeah, he actually said, I don't know chutney from Sputney, so I'm out, which is, you know, kind of funny. Mark's been pretty comical this season so far.
So far.
Outspoken,
Davos.
yeah. Yeah, right. Well, he's been really like, I mean, even last week with the roller dock, you know, he's just shown a little bit more of a tenacity this season, I think. So, you know, Lori said she didn't give out any percent. She said she was telling the girls to not take a deal from any shark. Yeah. She was telling, don't give any percent of this, just keep building this and you will figure it out, which I thought was awesome of her. Yeah. I'm on Train Lori right now for many reasons. But she was pretty good. And then Damon didn't think he could be of any service, so he went out, which, you know, I appreciate his honesty as well. And then Robert was just, I feel like Robert really wanted to do something, but he just didn't know. He was like, I don't want to make the wrong decision for your company because I really don't know, but I just want to eat all your mango preserves. That's pretty much what was happening.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we'll see. So they didn't wind up getting a deal. I'm sure they're going to keep going to the farmers markets, the expos, and selling it. Like, I don't think they're giving up. And, you know, even at the end, Lori again says that it's great. Don't give up. You'll probably, they're going to sell more. They're going to sell more than their projection. Just keep doing what they're doing, and they'll be fine. So
here's the thing, you know, they said that they can get the money from elsewhere, but they want the sharks.
Right.
And also to that point, I mean, you know, you don't really want to take out a loan, but the fact that they're making money, you know, just take out a quick loan. You know you're going to pay it back.
Right.
And you know what? If you really want a production house, then get it. But I wouldn't say that's the way to go.
I wouldn't say that.
It's in their hands.
It's totally in their hands. And I feel like the reason why they weren't just like taking out a loan is because they didn't maybe trust that they would spend that money the most practical way. So they wanted a shark to give them the money, but also to be in charge of how that money is dispersed to ensure that they're still going to be going forward, which, you know, that's why they get a percentage. You know, they don't just give the money and get it back. They give the money and get a percentage because then it works better, you know. Yeah. So, anything else about mango preserves for you, Phil?
I wanted to try it. That's about it.
I know. I wish we could get samples. How do we manage that? We tried to get sweet balls last week, but I couldn't find them in any 7-Eleven, and Kristina couldn't either. P.S. Kristina had to work tonight, so she sends her regards. She misses all you guys. She will be back next Sunday. That's about it.
On to product number two.
Product number 2, the Breathometer.
You know,
Initial thoughts.
we were teased for a $4 million buy-in, and I thought this could have been it.
Yeah, the teaser last week, we didn't see one. I was a little disappointed. I thought it could have been it too. And I like how they prep it like a Silicon Valley veteran with an invention that he hopes will save lives. So then Charles Michael Yim comes in. He wants $250,000 for 10% equity. So that gives his company a $2.5 million evaluation, which no one really bats an eye at from the beginning. And I like it. He seemed smart. He seemed calculated right away. He's like, let's have a drink. And and Kevin is all like, what are we cheersing to? And he's like, making a deal. And like, he's confident. He shows confidence.
Yeah. And, he talked about it. I feel like you always got to kind of present, you always want to obviously present the simplest form of the idea, but then it just became a, wait, what? When he said, like, this could be used for diabetes.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the moneymaker right there, among other things. Like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it kind of made me think back to last week a little bit of the Rolodoc. Like, some of the things that are happening in the medical field with apps and stuff like that are amazing. So for those two guys to come up and kind of give like a shit show presentation was just like, now I'm seeing it more like they could have spun this and made it seem good, but now they're done. No. Rolodoc is done. Yeah. That's my prediction. So pretty much he shows us how this works. It's pretty much like one of those square things that you plug into your phone and you can run a credit card. That's what I saw when I did it. So, so many people know what that is, so you can relate to, okay, that's how it works. You stick this thing into your phone and it works. So you stick this little square cube into your phone, and then you breathe into it, and it will record your blood alcohol level. It will tell you how long you need to, if it's over the, the legal limit, it will tell you how long you need to wait before you should drive, or it will give you the option to push a button and hail a cab. That, to me, shows that it was completely thought out. It was completely thought out, because what do you do if it says you need to wait 10 hours to drive? No one's going to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the other option is safe ride home.
Yeah. The number one thing, as long as this hail a cab button is the size of the entire screen, so like even if I'm blackout drunk, I just hit the screen and there you go.
Or it should be like, if you don't respond within like a certain amount of seconds, it's like, oh, we're hailing you a cab.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that the GPS in your phone will tell the cab where you are. So literally all you have to do is just push a button and a cab will show up. Yeah. And I'm wondering if these partnered with, Lyft or some of the, Uber, or if it's just a regular cab company. Because I don't know if they would get a percent. Like, I don't know if there's anything like that, or they're just tied into a system. He didn't really get into the logistics of that.
Well, they filmed for so long, I'm sure they did.
Right,
or it could have. It just wasn't included because only geeks like us really care.
Yeah, totally. So to date, so what he did was he started an Indiegogo campaign. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Indiegogo, it's a crowdsourced funding. Pretty much, people on the internet give them a certain amount of money, they get a perk back. And it's similar to Kickstarter, but I feel like Indiegogo is become more of the platform used because of the percentages they take. I feel like in Kickstarter, if you do a campaign and you don't reach your goal, you don't get the money. And in Indiegogo, if you do a campaign, whatever you raise, you keep. Just whether or not you reach your goal depends on what percentage they keep of the campaign. So it's interesting. I'm hearing the Indiegogo a lot more. So if anyone's out there wants to do a campaign, it's the way to go. So they sold 4,000 units on this, which was $140,000 worth of revenue. So that's a lot to raise on Indiegogo. Because you usually get like a month or like 45 days.
Yeah, it's pretty short. It's a short amount of window.
Yeah. So,
and especially when you don't really have PR for it. I mean, you're PR is really just kind of all in that one space.
Yeah, and it's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
So clearly people are getting this and using it and being like, this is great.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, though, everyone probably buys it before anyone receives it. So it'd be interesting to see if we looked it up right now, what the feedback would be on this project. Because people probably by now have received their breathometer.
But I think, it's interesting in that way, and the culture has shifted as such, because now, whether it's you're starting a new kind of television, like your own podcast, let's say, that's where I kind of know it from, but even just this, right? Whereas the old model is you have to have something 100% perfect, and then you unveil it into the market. It's interesting because people like going on that journey. So let's say, that you unveil version 1.
Right.
And people are like, here's what's wrong with it. Then it's like, okay, now we go on this journey to fix it together. And people like that, and makes them feel part of the process. And it's an interesting cultural shift in kind of product unveilment.
No, I completely agree with that. And at their price point of $49.99 retail, I feel like you'd go for that journey. You know what I mean? If it costs $500, you're going to want one that works regardless, and you're not going to want to have to change that within a year or two, But for $50 to get something that could, you don't even have to be a big drinker to have this. Like, you could be someone, bartenders could have this at bars. Like, lots of people could. I would want one just because if I was out with my friends, I'd be like, dude, look, you can't drive, Not that my friends are a bunch of alcoholics, but you know what I mean. And then actually, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin, brings up a very, very valid point that he is not scared, that's the wrong word, but he is curious and doesn't want to get involved with something like this. In the beginning, he alludes to that because of the legal purposes. Like, what happens if someone uses your product, the breathometer, and it tells them that they're fine to drive, and then they leave a bar and get into an accident, hurt themselves, hurt somebody, and they, their defense to the cops is, I have this thing. It said that I could do it. Like, you could literally blow it, take a screenshot of your phone that, and the time and be like, no, at this time it said I was fine, so therefore I drove. Like, there's a lot of legal stuff that seems like it could be a little bit tricky with that.
But he had the disclaimers and things like that. He had an answer for it, and a very good one at that. And at the end of the day, it's a risk, but okay, you kind of, whenever these inventions come out, you have to look at, okay, someone's going to abuse the technology and be stupid about it.
Right.
And you know what? But it could save hundreds of thousands of lives. Right. So that's the upside. You know what? And it sucks that there is a negative to it, but...
Yeah. Well, it sucks that the society we live in today, this is a show about entrepreneur and people making businesses, but it sucks that there are a few people that, do make businesses that are like suing people and finding and screwing the system, when people have a really good idea like this, where it could help hundreds and thousands of people, you actually have to think of that one person that might be like, well, this is a way for me to like sue them if it doesn't work out for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that would come up for us. But he does. He has a very good answer. He's like, no, there's nothing that's better than good judgment. And I'm sure there's like all kinds of legal stuff that you have to like sign on your phone or something in order to say that.
And the fact that it costs, $49.99, depending on, I don't know exactly how you purchase it online or through a store, whatever. You know how, okay, you buy medicine, right? And they scan your ID.
Yeah.
So that could be, okay, and then you sign. So by, handing your ID over, signing this, you wait, this is a recommendation, but it's not it may not be 100%. If
I'm sure there's got to be something like that on it, where it's like to load up the app, you have to like read this thing and hit I agree. Like, it's not just going to be like in small fine print on the phone. Yeah. Like, it's got to be a signature.
And I imagine one of the things has to be like improper use of this may cause death or something like, you know what I mean? Because basically I could be like, it's 10 feet away from my mouth and I'm breathing into it. Oh, it says whatever it is.
And you're like, sweet, give me the keys. You know, and that's not
the intended use.
Right.
So.
That's cool. I wonder if there is, there's got to be a sanitary thing too, so that multiple people could use it. But I'm sure that's there. And Charles, he's a smart guy. He's sold he used to be a coder and he sold other companies, so he knows how to make internet companies. He knows how to make that work. I believe he said he already raised some money. He had one round of funding and he got some angel investors. And, and this is where it gets interesting because he's looking for $250,000 for 10% equity in his company. And through the process, so first off, we have Mark offer him $500,000 for 20% of his company. And Lori right away says, I want to go with Mark. And Mark says no. He says no, which is like, it's so funny because sometimes they're so team and sometimes they're like, no, this is going to be a bidding war. So that right away shows that Mark believes in it. He likes it. And then Mr. Wonderful comes in with an offer for $250,000 for 15%, which is a little bit, it's crazy because he's not giving as much money / equity to Breathometer. Like he's trying to, one up Mark with lower percentage, but still it's more percentage than he asked for. So it was kind of a little bit of a cheap shot offer, I think. And he proposed, and then, it squeaks out that Charles is after this wanting to do another round of investment. He wanted to raise $1 million with some more angel funders. And then all of a sudden the game changes.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden he says, Mr. Wonderful says, why don't you let the Sharks do all the funding? And then it gets interesting.
Well, what I loved about this is that they turned it on him, and because Mark was very hesitant. So it's like, okay, make me a deal, and you throw out a percentage that is going to work for me, Mark, and it's going to be the highest one.
Yeah.
Out of all the Sharks.
And that was, too, after all the other Sharks realized they wanted to be on board, they also acknowledged that Mark should get more percentage because he has more knowledge in this field. So they literally were like, okay, Mark, what would you need? And then instead of Mark telling them what he would need, he asked Charles for that.
That was the biggest decision of that guy's life.
It was. I think it was well played.
I think it was. And you know what? His CFO got on the phone. I was a little worried because I don't know. He was telling him all kinds of things. But
right. So, but what he says is he comes back with, well, first off, Kevin, Robert, and Lori offer $750,000 for 30%. We skipped over that. And then Damon said he would give $125,000 for 10%. So that would have been $1 million. If he
plus manufacturing.
Plus manufacturing, right. So Mark said that he would need $500K for 50. Mark actually comes back and says it. He doesn't say it, does he? Charles didn't say I'd give you 50% and you guys split it.
Yeah, Charles never really came up with the answer. Mark kind of gave it to him.
Yeah. Which, at the end of the day, Mark's making out better than his initial $500,000 for 20%.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
But that was the deal for that was now you got all the Sharks. Right. So I'm getting more, but you're also I'm bringing in now the other Sharks.
Right. So what it winds up being is Mark puts in $500,000, he gets 15%, and then all the rest of the Sharks put in $125,000 each for 15%. So pretty much it winds up being $1 million he receives for 30% of his company. And he was asking for, so that pretty much gives him a $3 million evaluation, which is more than what he was evaluating it in the beginning, which you don't really see on Shark Tank. You don't see that very often. Another thing, I think this might be the first time ever we got all the Sharks.
Oh, that was historic, because that's what Kevin was saying, and that's a huge press hit. Yeah. Which I like when they break down that sort of wall, because okay, yes, we're watching a TV show, but the TV show is huge press to begin with. And then when, something historic like this happens where you get all the Sharks to be involved, that's a huge press hit.
You know what? Not to sound like that sentimental girl or whatever, but I kind of think it's awesome that this is the product that's doing it. Yes, it's a great idea. Yes, it's going to make money, but the intention is to try and bring an awareness and a safety in a place where a lot of people make bad decisions and people get hurt for no reason.
Yeah.
So,
and I will give Charles so much credit because here's the thing, so many other people could have effed this up. Think of the safety belt guy. Remember, the car wouldn't start unless your safety belt was in there.
Yeah.
But Kevin really loved the idea, but the guy was like, "No, I want to sell it individually." No, why don't we just sell it to car manufacturers and they'll put it in the cars?
Right.
We'll make so much more money and it'll be easy.
Yeah, it's all licensing.
I'm not sure I'm interested in that.
Yeah. Some people just don't know. I feel like they're tunnel vision, and that's what Charles did, right? He went in wanting one thing, but he saw, you could see it on his face. He saw it happening like, oh my God, I'm not going to have to go get another round of funding. I'm going to make my thing right now, and I've got the expertise of all these people.
Yeah.
It's pretty brilliant. So he accepts the offer. I'm sure we're going to see breathometers everywhere. And it's simple. It's like simple stupid. You know, it's this little thing you carry around, smaller than a pack of cigarettes. You plug it into your phone and you blow in it, and it tells you everything else. Like, people aren't going to use anything. Like, nowadays and age, it needs to be simple. It needs to be clean. It needs to be, you know what I mean? It needs to be very, very...
For diabetics, this is going to be great.
Right, and then he goes and says that could do this for diabetes. He said something else, too.
He said, it started off with Robert joking about bad breath.
Yes, halitosis.
Yes.
And he was like, actually, yeah. Which, again, there was those two little things with this presentation in particular, that the conversation led him to say that he was going to do another round of investing with angel funders. And then that led to getting all the sharks. And then Robert, you know, saying this kind of joke thing led to them realizing that this is like the tip of the iceberg of what this little contraption can do.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like it might even be like the contraption still just reads it, and it's going to be like software updates, which is going to be an easy thing for people to download and to get up-to-date stuff of what it could do. Like, the hardware's already made.
This is going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Do anything.
I want a breathometer. Charles.
I think the future is you'll be able to hold it up to a potential mate and see if you guys match. That's just my theory.
Really?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I was like, where are you going with that?
All right, number 3.
Okay, number 3. Oh, my God. I kind of, like, seeing the beginning of this, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so cheesy. But, you know, I kind of liked it. So we open up the doors, and we've got Jim O'Brien with his body double trying to tell us about man medals. What'd you think?
Oh my! I would never want a man medal from my girlfriend, wife, mom, friend that happens to be a girl, coworker, or anything.
Why? Why are you a hater on the man medal?
I'm gonna. First off, these are things that just should happen anyway. Okay?
What do you mean? Getting a...
As a man, you should.
But it doesn't. The presentation was hilarious because it's so true.
I understand.
It's so true that
and a
dudes
medal is
don't
gonna
do
fix
that.
this.
It's an encouraging. It's
How about
funny.
this? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna take Kevin to the next level. You know what's a reward?
What?
Women should put. There you go. Every time I do this, women. My wife puts out. Great. I'm happy. That's gonna happen. But you never. It's not gonna. You know, because then now you're entering prostitution soon. That's never gonna work. I'm just saying. A pin is gonna. Steven.
Oh shit.
What do you mean?
Back me up on this.
One.
Would you want a medal? Every time you put the toilet seat down.
Wait, no, time out. Steven, don't answer that yet. Let it listen to his presentation, and then let us know.
I've already listened to it. I've watched the show.
Okay, so would you want a man medal then?
Hell no.
Really?
It was ridiculous. Honestly,
Get me Mackenzie.
Are you gonna get a medal every time you clean up your dirty underpants? Like,
Get me Mackenzie.
I'll get you Mackenzie.
She's a female, so hopefully she can back you up.
No, I mean, I think it's a little bit ridiculous. I thought it was a great presentation. I like the idea. Dudes don't do that stuff. It's just the way that they're programmed. It's okay. It's okay. There's some stuff that women don't do, but I thought it was hysterical. And I could totally see women... See, women are going to buy that for their man. It's marketable. It might not be the coolest thing, and no, I can't picture you or Steven or any guy I know, for that matter, walking around with his man medal on his lapel. But women will buy that shit and give it to their dude.
It's circumstantial. I would be like, here's the thing. Women would have to create a code of thing like, hey, earn 10 medals, and I'll give you a blowjob.
Wow, you
I'm
took it
just
there.
saying! Mackenzie!
What?
Would you get man medals for your whatever?
Would I give them to my man?
Yes.
I don't know. It's kind of corny. I don't think I would do that.
Ooh, that's a female.
Hey, I'm not
Perspective.
saying it's not corny. I'm not saying it's not corny, and I'm not saying I know anyone that would wear it. I'm saying there are girls, women out there that would buy this shit for their dude.
Yeah, but I think that it, like, for my boyfriend, I think it would be kind of like offending him, kind of. Like, oh, here's your little medal, little 5-year-old baby boy.
I don't know. Yeah, it kind of makes me think. When I was growing up, well, forget it. I'm not telling that story.
Okay, you know what?
Gonna go so far.
It brings up something. Maybe it would work with as you're potty training your little boy, your
Yeah,
son.
exactly.
It could work for that.
Okay,
So call it a boy medal.
I'm gonna tell my story. I was a thumb sucker for a while, and my mom made up this chart. And every day that I didn't suck my thumb, I mean, I was like 5 or 6, whatever, whenever you stop sucking your thumb. Not that I do it now, but just to be clear. But every day I got a sticker. When I got a star sticker for the week, we went to freaking Chuck E. Cheese, and I was stoked.
But
Got
that's
it.
what I'm
I
saying.
was 5.
There needs to be a reward for getting those medals. And what is that reward? Now, okay, this is where you take it to the next
Right,
step.
because people aren't gonna go out and wear them in public.
Okay, obviously the sex and prostitution is never going to work. Maybe you tie it in with like a men's warehouse and you get a nice little bow tie at the end. You know what I mean? You got to
I like
accumulate
where you're
points to
going.
something.
I like where you're going with that.
When I watched them do
I like that, Phil. Go ahead. Sorry, Mackenzie.
Sorry, no. When I watched this whole segment, I just kept thinking of, is it going to be like at Spencer's? It's just one of those like corny, like funny things that you kind of buy, but
that's
not
where it
really.
would be. I think that's where it would be. And I
Yeah.
think women buy crazy shit. I think they would buy it. They'd put in if he made it for this Christmas, you know how many men across the country, across the world, would have a freaking man medal in their stocking or under their menorah, whatever. I mean, like, people cheesy, I get it. But
I'm out.
You're
I'm out.
They're all, yeah. But, you know, I feel like Jim he's kind of funny. It was a good idea. I feel like he's not too serious about it. He's only asking $10,000 for 10%, which gives his company $100,000 evaluation. He had $2,500 in sales, which they all laughed at him. But, you know, his margins were good. $5 retail, $2.50 wholesale, 65 cents cost. So,
Steph, I gotta ask you though. When he walked in and you saw that button on him, were you like, what the hell's he wearing a button for? Like, grown men
Yeah.
don't wear buttons.
No.
Buttons are not medals. Like, little circular buttons are not medals. Like, they didn't have a
Right.
ribbon, they didn't have anything. It's just like we had that conversation before about stickers not being manly. All right? Buttons are not manly. I'm sorry.
If the points get you to something, it's great because it works.
That's what that was the missing link. I think that's the missing link because I really think women would buy this, and if the points did get to something, like if you got a certain amount of points, you got from your woman a new TV, or you got to go have
take her out to a restaurant,
yeah, like if there
ice
was
cream, whatever. It
No,
doesn't-
I get it. You're accumulating medals and points and there's no real prize.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. So, you know, and everyone liked the presentation, which I was scared that they were going to rip that shirtless dude apart. Like, I thought they were just going to rip him apart. And they didn't. He was funny. He was quirky. He was funny. Lori called him a beefcake. It was crazy. You know.
I'm surprised Lori could contain herself.
I know. Lori said, go to a trade show. I hope you're successful, but I'm out. You know, Robert said it was one of the best presentations, great presentation, but he was out. Mark, you know, again, went with the it's not a business, but, you know, I could never picture Mark Cuban wearing a man medal. But, you know, he likes trophies. Same shit, kind of. Totally kidding. It's totally not the same. You know, Mr. Wonderful was telling everyone that he forbids them to proceed when Damon was actually thinking about it for a minute. And, you know, Damon was just saying the sales aren't that bad, you know, and it's for something like that. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years from now, I'm walking through exactly like a Spencer's or like, you know, one of those bullshit stores and like I see man medals for sale.
What was the money for? The 10,000. What was it for?
He didn't really say what it was for, but I think it was just for production. I think it was a little bit of everything, but he didn't say like I have POs waiting, I have, you know, I need manufacturing. He didn't really say. He wasn't too specific with that. So I feel like though for every brilliant idea like Breathometer, we get a man medal. Like it keeps the show round, you know, and it keeps the sharks sharp.
We need man medal. Yes, I get it. We need man medals.
Right. Okay, moving on. Then we have Amber Lee Forrester walk through the door holding her little cute cane, which was her dog, for Cane and Couture, which was a clothing company for dogs. Like legit clothing company. She said all they have out there is plaid stuff and, solid stuff. And she really wanted more clothing, not just the collar, not just the bandana. Like straight up, these dogs had outfits on.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, Phil? As a dog owner, Phil, how do you feel about that?
I feel like it works. I'm not, I have dogs that hate this kind of stuff, so I don't dress up my dogs. But there are so many women that love that kind of stuff.
I agree. I think it's more of a small dog thing.
I mean...
Because the big dog, even that they showed it, only had a collar on it.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean... Okay, here's the thing, right? There's a dog that I know that's a poodle. It's large. It's a standard poodle. And, she's a little bit on the older side. And so to keep her warm and also to prevent her from licking some of her wounds on her body, you put her in this cute little outfit.
Right.
So it works, and you're not
That's
your
actually
dog,
a good twist. The outfit is way better than the cone of shame.
Yeah.
For a dog.
Yeah.
That's a good little. They should have like little scrubs, like when they have like a cut and they can't lick it or something.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
They could do that, but I mean, just even the dog, Dozer, he gets outfitted.
No, I love Dozer. What are you talking about? I don't just know him. But
well, it's not technically your dog, so I don't want to say that.
Kinda.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, I love Dozer. We actually got Dozer at Cape the other day. But
So
that's the
what I'm
thing.
saying.
Like, I couldn't. Dozer's a boxer. He's the most gorgeous, handsome dog you'll ever see ever. And I'm not just saying that because it's kind of my dog, but he just is. And I would never put him in a full-on outfit. Like, it wouldn't look right on his legs. Like, they wouldn't make it to, like, the pants would have to be L-shaped. Like, that would just be weird.
You wouldn't dress him up like Roger from Snooki and JWoww, where he you could pretend like he kind of has tattoos on his arms. Like for those of you unfamiliar, it's it's kind of like a biker tattoo lookish. Because he's a boxer.
I mean, we've put football jerseys on him. Bow tie. He's so handsome in a bow tie, and I'm just a big bow tie fan. So he does look. We dress him up, but he not like fully clothed. Like if you saw no fur and just clothes on him, I feel like it would look awkward.
All right, so all in all, though, there's a market for this.
Totally, there's a market for this. And you know what? I'm gonna just start with this. I'm gonna go there. I kind of think Amber Lee Forrester is my favorite presenter ever on Shark Tank.
And why is that?
Because she's smart. She's sophisticated, she knows her business, and she deflects the way that Mr. Wonderful talks to her. She doesn't take on any of the rude comments that come with her. She's got a smart answer. She's got a good attitude. I would go into business with her. I would 100% start a business with her.
Yeah.
I think she's amazing. Like, I want to hang out with her.
The only mistake was, I was on board. I agree with you there. But going from 90,000, not even 100, you go to 1.8 million.
It can happen. And the reason why it can happen, yes, it's a little far-fetched, I agree with you. But she's got big box Macy's on board. So, which big box just means large store, sorry, but like she's got a department store like that, and if what she's saying is true, she's just had a test order. Because I remember our first order, one of our first orders was for Neiman Marcus. We got 9 doors, and they call them stores, they call them doors. We got 9 doors as a test, and we sold out. And like our next order, we got all doors, Neiman Marcus. So that jump really can be. And Macy's, like, the jump really can be that. If she's got different avenues, like, it could be that. Like, it's a little far-fetched, and so many things would have to line up in order for her to do that. But it's not impossible.
The only thing I'm thinking is, where is their dog section at Macy's?
It's probably in, like, seasonal or something. I don't really go to Macy's a lot.
Like, that's what I'm wondering.
But Macy's is a perfect store. I'm sure she wants to get, like, Target. I mean, it'd be a different price point, but... Actually, she probably wouldn't do Target right now. It wouldn't make sense. But there's stores. Macy's probably is one of the best stores for her to be in with that.
I agree. I'm just, I don't know. I'm just skeptical in that way.
Right, and I agree with you. It is, like I said, a lot of things have to line up in order to do that. And then we have Mr. Wonderful, and he's so great. Kevin is so great at making comments sometimes that are so far-fetched. Like, he asks, what if the dog has to pee or poop? And she's like, then I take him out and take him to the bathroom. Like, I loved her so much.
Well, I also I give credits to the other sharks. Like, dude, have you never had a dog?
Right, because but he sometimes, he asks those questions sometimes just to get a rise out of people, I feel. Like, just to try and throw them off their game. And she was like, well, then I take my dog to go to the bathroom, if that's what happened. So I think she was really smart. She had retail, and she did it online as well. And then, so pretty much, Kevin's rude. He goes out. Robert's out, even though he's clearly the dog lover of the bunch. He has one of the dogs sitting on his lap. And Lori wants to make an offer, but it's contingent on Damon going in, $75,000 for 40% of the company. So it takes her valuation down, a little bit. And Damon said he is a little bit scared about that projection. But, Lori reassures him it's not that easy to get into Macy's and stuff. And they kind of talk each other into it. Mark has no interest in it. And Damon, comes back. And I like when they do this sometimes. It's like they believe in him, but they want to make sure that it's going to work. So Damon comes back and he asks her, in order to hit her projection of 1.8 million, how much in opening sales would you need to get? And she knew the right number. So she's smart. She knew I would need $400,000 in opening sales. So, pretty much she makes the deal with Lori and Damon, and she has to get opening orders of 400,000. She asks, she doesn't say maybe 300. She asks, the only thing she wanted was, will they help fund, the orders that she already has so she doesn't have to lay that out? And they say yes, and they make a deal, and it's great. I like it. I love her. I really do. Amber, you're my favorite. Real quick, and then we have a little update from Simple Sugars. Simple Sugars was a company that made a deal with Mark Cuban last season. It was season 4, I believe. And prior to the Shark Tank, their sales were $50,000. After they went on the Shark Tank, then the next 24 hours, they did $220,000 of sales. 6 weeks later, they had reached their $1 million sales point. That's the power of Shark Tank. That's crazy.
They have 24 employees and 9 interns.
8.
8 interns.
And they only had 3 to start.
Did one die? Ooh, no, one died.
No, stop it. And what was interesting, which I didn't remember from last season, was that it's kind of an all-women-run company. And
I like that.
I like it too. And her goal was she wants to be the best company in America for women to work for. And, she makes a statement that women have, still a little ways to come in the corporate world, and she's not just bitching and moaning about it. She's going to create a business and create that for women. So I kind of give props to her. So that kind of wraps up our show for tonight. We loved it. Real quick, I love you guys. I miss you guys. I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to be gone for the next 5 weeks or so. 5 weeks I'm going to miss, but keep watching. If you want to check out
20 products.
I know. If you want to check out where I'm going to go, check out friendmovement.com. I'm actually doing a campaign fundraiser walk. Check it out. It's really cool.
It's progressive, it's an anti-bullying campaign.
It's an anti-bullying.
Among other things.
It's anti-bullying, but more so than that, it's kind of like pro-friend. It's we all can get along, we all can learn from each other, and we're actually doing a walk from Chicago to New York. So check it out.
Yes, indeed. And I will be... what accent did I adopt there?
I don't know, but Phil's going to take my shoes over for the next few weeks.
Yeah, she's literally going to leave her shoes in studio.
I will.
For, the next 5 weeks, I own 100% of her shoes.
Sweet. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at IAMSTEFZ.
And follow us here at AfterBuzz TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And I will have Kristina back, and I'll try to get some fun people in here too to kind of fill in.
Yeah.
So you'll see them, and we'll see Stef Z back in 5 weeks.
Sweet. Thank you guys. See you later.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AFTERBUZZTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.